July 2026. The World Cup final, Argentina versus Spain. Stagnant at 0-0, the absolute biggest game on the planet. 82nd minute. Enzo Fernández barks at the referee, protesting a foul that never came. A cheap yellow card in a World Cup final just for losing his temper. Every single player with an ounce of experience knows exactly what that means. Your next foul is your absolute last. You have to play smart, lock in, and survive the final minutes with absolute care. But 11 minutes later, Fernandez recklessly lunges into Pauzi during a 50-50 ball. Second yellow card. He is sent off. Red. 93rd minute of the biggest final on earth. Argentina had to play 30 grueling minutes of extra time with just 10 men. Spain found the net in the 106th minute. Argentina lost the final, and as he trudged off the pitch, Fernandez kicked a sideline microphone in pure anger before disappearing down the tunnel. No thought, no self-control. Just raw, unfiltered frustration on the most watched broadcast of the entire year. That was not just bad luck, and it certainly was not just a bad day. It was the latest chapter of a story that has been writing itself for 2 whole years now. The exact same mistakes, the same defensive outbursts, the same destructive pattern repeating itself over and over again. And in this tragic story, the only person responsible for all of Enzo Fernandez's problems is Enzo Fernandez himself. Let's go back to January 2023. Chelsea drops a staggering £106.8 million on a 22-year-old midfielder who just won the World Cup and captured the Best Young Player award. Young, incredibly talented, a world champion, and absolutely starving for glory. It was the most exciting investment Chelsea had made in years. Yet, 3.5 years later, Real Madrid felt forced to publish an official statement denying they had any interest in signing him. Manchester City let a crucial deadline pass without submitting a single bid. Now, Fernandez finds himself stuck at Chelsea under manager Xavi Alonso, playing in a system that is not built for his specific strengths. He has 6 years left on a massive contract he no longer wants to honor, and absolutely no club is willing to pay the £120 million Chelsea is demanding. Luck did not abandon him. His own judgment did. The first major disaster struck in July 2024. Argentina had just won the Copa America. A celebratory team bus, a live stream broadcasting directly to social media. Fernandez is caught on camera singing along with his teammates, chanting highly offensive, racist, and discriminatory lyrics targeted directly at the French national team, degrading references to their African heritage. Within hours, the video had spread all over the internet. Wesley Fofana, his own Chelsea teammate and a French player, reposted it with just 3 words: "Football in 2024, uninhibited racism." The French Football Federation quickly filed legal complaints. Chelsea released a strong official statement condemning the behavior and launched an internal disciplinary investigation. Fernandez issued a public apology. It is impossible to know exactly what went down in that dressing room afterward, but from the outside, the damage to relationships was glaringly obvious. A diverse squad representing 20 different countries watched their teammate joyfully sing a song that directly insulted them, only to receive a generic apology on Instagram later. You cannot just wipe that away. And honestly, that was the precise moment Fernandez needed to start thinking long and hard before he opened his mouth. The apology was there, but the obvious next step for any player with some emotional maturity was to rebuild in silence, keep his head down, and let his football do the talking. Fernandez did the exact opposite. In March 2026, with the World Cup fast approaching, Fernandez sat down for an interview with ESPN Argentina and said exactly what no active contracted player should ever say out loud. He admitted he would love to live in Spain. He insisted he loved Madrid. His manager, Liam Rossor, found out about those comments barely an hour later. Fernandez was dropped from the squad for the next 2 matches without hesitation. But the real, lasting damage was not his suspension, it was what came right after. His representative immediately went public, complaining that Chelsea was not handling the situation well at all, claiming Enzo was open to staying, but if they could not agree, they would look for other options. And right in the middle of the World Cup, while he was still wearing the Chelsea captain's armband and cashing massive paychecks from the club every single week, his agent shamelessly sat down for an interview with Marca to announce they were actively exploring potential pathways to force an exit from Chelsea. The market's response was swift and absolutely brutal. Real Madrid immediately published a statement to completely shut down any rumors of interest. Manchester City had 2 whole months to make an offer, yet they let the transfer window deadline pass without ever submitting a bid. PSG monitored his situation briefly, but never put a formal offer on the table. Chelsea is demanding a massive £120 million. Not a single euro was offered. The entire sequence is honestly baffling in its stupidity. Fernandez publicly announced he desperately wanted to go to Madrid, and Madrid responded by saying they did not want him. Fernandez tried to force a transfer that was never going to happen, completely ruined his relationship with the incoming manager, and ended up exactly where he started at Chelsea. Only now, there is far less respect for him in the dressing room, fewer external transfer options, and a manager who already knows exactly how he acts when things do not go his way. This right here is the absolute most critical turning point in the last 2 years of Enzo Fernandez's career. Forget the Copa America video, and forget the World Cup final. We are talking about this because this was not some emotional reaction in a sudden moment of pure euphoria. It was a cold, calculated decision, executed over several weeks, which ended up damaging his standing in every single direction all at once. And the most frustrating part of all this, what makes it so hard to watch for anyone who actually knows soccer, is that Enzo Fernandez is genuinely brilliant. Or at least he was. Back in that World Cup semi-final against England, Fernandez was easily the best player on the pitch. He dictated the tempo, won back possession when it mattered, and fired in a long-range equalizer that left the keeper absolutely helpless. That strike sent Argentina straight to the final. At Chelsea, when he is actually fit and hungry, his statistics remain incredibly strong. Progressive passes, clean midfield recoveries, and that dangerous ability to burst into the box from deep. He won the Conference League, he won the Club World Cup. He reads the game like an elite playmaker, with the technical skill to pull off whatever he envisions. The issue was never his talent, it is everything else spinning around it. Imagine a player broadcasting racist chants on a live stream. A midfielder who openly demands Madrid while under contract, while his agent shops him in the press during the World Cup itself. Then there is the constant stream of bookings for arguing in crucial matches. These are not isolated mistakes. They are consistent decisions, repeating often enough to show how Fernandez operates when the pressure starts to suffocatingly build. When Xavi Alonso arrived at Chelsea, his very first move was declaring Caicedo absolutely untouchable. His second was hunting for another midfielder, because Fernandez simply does not fit the profile needed for his preferred double pivot. That is no coincidence. This is a manager who analyzed the last 2 seasons and made a definitive call on who he can actually rely on when things get tough. The ultimate irony here is that Fernandez currently has the exact manager he needs to salvage his career. Xavi Alonso built his entire legacy, both playing and coaching, on the foundation of emotional intelligence, on making the right choice when the match is on the line, on never losing his cool when keeping it matters most. If anyone can mold Fernandez into the player he promised to become back in January 2023, it is Alonso. But that requires Fernandez to listen, to understand his next 6 years at Chelsea could be legendary or a total disaster, and that the outcome depends entirely on the choices he makes away from the pitch, not on it. At 25, he still has time and plenty of raw talent. But so far, every single time he had to choose between the smart route and the easy option, Enzo Fernandez chose the easy way out. Nobody is destroying his career.